You know, we use language all day, every day. But have you ever really stopped to think about how it actually works? It turns out most of the time we're all following a set of hidden rules. Rules we all know, but we're never actually taught. So today, we're going to uncover that secret code of conversation. Okay, so take a look at this. We all get what it means, right? The wind was super loud, probably pretty violent. But can wind literally be angry? I mean, really? Of course not. It doesn't have emotions. And yet the meaning comes through loud and clear. Or how about this classic? Do you think the speaker has actually said this 1,000 times? Almost no chance. It's a massive exaggeration, but we immediately get what they really mean. I've said this a lot, and I'm getting pretty frustrated here. And this one. Is the room literally a cave? You know, made of rock? Maybe a few bats hanging around? Nope, we instantly get the picture. It's probably dark, maybe a bit messy. We understand the comparison without even thinking about it. So this is the big question, isn't it? If what we say isn't always what we literally mean, how in the world do we understand each other? Well, it turns out that communication is a lot like an iceberg. The vast majority of the meaning is hidden just beneath the surface. To really get it, we've got to look past the words themselves and start exploring that huge, hidden structure that's holding everything up. But before we take a deep dive, let's start with what we can see, the very tip of that iceberg. This is the literal face value meaning of a sentence. And in linguistics, this has a name. It's called a proposition. Think of a proposition as just the raw data of a sentence. It's the core, verifiable fact, the basic who did what to whom. All the flair, all the emotion, all the style gets stripped away. So for example, these two sentences are worded a bit differently, but they describe the exact same reality. The core fact, the proposition, is identical. Harry. Garbage. Out. That's it. But watch what happens here. Isabel loves Tony versus Tony loves Isabel. Whoa, just by swapping two words, we're talking about two completely different situations. The propositions are not the same at all. So that literal meaning is crucial, but it's really just the starting point. Okay, you're ready? Let's take our first dive just below the surface. We're moving from what is explicitly said to what is simply assumed. This layer is all about the background information we bring to a conversation without even noticing. And we call these things presuppositions. They're the unspoken truths that a sentence just takes for granted. It's the shared foundation that the entire conversation is built on, even though nobody ever says it out loud. And this is where it gets really powerful. Check this out. It's like a little magic trick. I can say John stopped smoking. I can say John didn't stop smoking. I can even ask, did John stop smoking? No matter which one I choose, one fact always remains true. John used to smoke. That is the presupposition. It's the sticky little piece of information that survives no matter what. And our language is just packed with little triggers for these assumptions. Just mentioning John's sister presupposes that, well, John has a sister. Or if you say, you're late again, that little word again is loaded with the assumption that you were late before. My favorite, though, is the counterfactual. Saying, if I were your friend, carries that powerful unspoken message, but I'm not. Okay, so let's go even deeper now, down to the bottom of the iceberg. We've looked at what's said and what's assumed. Now let's talk about what's only hinted at. This is where the real artistry of conversation happens. So look at this little exchange. Person A asks a simple, direct question, and person B gives a totally random fact in response. It seems like B didn't answer the question at all. Or did they? What B is doing here is implying something. They're hinting at an answer without saying it directly. They're counting on A to connect the dots. You know, if the milkman always shows up around 8 a.m., then B is saying it's probably around 8 a.m. This hidden extra meaning is called a conversational implicature. It's the space between what the words literally say, the proposition, and what the speaker truly means. It's the art of reading between the lines, and we are doing this constantly. So, how do we do it? How do we all just know how to decode these secret messages? It's not mind reading. It's not magic. It's because we are all subconsciously playing by the same rulebook. A philosopher named Paul Grice figured this out. He laid out these 4 maxims, or rules, for a good conversation.
We just expect people to be truthful, to give the right amount of information, to be relevant, and to be clear. So when our milkman friend broke the relevance rule, that was a huge signal for us to go looking for a hidden meaning.
And this is the really fun part. We can break the rules on purpose to create an implicature. You've probably heard a parent do this. By breaking the be clear rule and spelling out ice cream, they're sending an obvious message. The kids are here and I don't want them to know what we're talking about. In this case, not being clear is the message. So once you start to see all these layers, you realize that every single conversation is way more complex and fascinating than it looks on the surface. You basically develop a communication superpower. So let's recap the whole iceberg one more time. At the very top, you've got the proposition, what you literally say. Just below the water are the presuppositions, the things you both assume are true. And way down at the bottom, the biggest part is the implicature, what you're truly trying to get across. Knowing about these hidden layers changes how you listen. You stop just hearing words and you start hearing the real meaning. So next time you're chatting with someone, listen for what isn't being said. What are they assuming? What are they implying? You might just be surprised by what you discover.